You've probably heard of the smiley piercing, but have you heard of the tongue web piercing? Hi, I'm Rebecca with Bodyartforms, and today we're going over this unique, hidden piercing that might seem like an easy one to get, but actually comes with quite a bit to consider. The tongue web piercing, also known as the tongue web frenulum piercing, sits underneath your tongue. It goes through the frenulum linguae, that thin strip of tissue connecting your tongue to the floor of your mouth. Because of its placement, it stays completely hidden unless you lift your tongue, which makes it a popular option for people who want something more discreet or can't have visible piercings. Since the jewelry sits underneath the tongue, it typically doesn't rub directly against your teeth or gums the way some oral piercings do. That can mean less risk of dental damage, but it definitely doesn't mean it's risk-free, and we'll get into that in a bit. Before anything else, anatomy is the first big factor here. Not everyone has enough tissue in the frenulum to safely support a tongue web piercing, and a professional piercer will always check this before moving forward. If they say you're not a good candidate, it's not a reflection on their skill, it's just how your body is built. This is also why it's important to go to an experienced, reputable piercer who's familiar with this type of piercing. If you do have the right anatomy, the actual piercing process is quick and pretty straightforward. After cleaning the area, your piercer will gently secure the frenulum, usually with a clamp, then pass a sterile, hollow needle through the tissue before inserting the jewelry. Most piercers will start you off with a 16-gauge curved barbell, leaving a little extra length to allow for swelling. Once the swelling goes down, you'll come back in to downsize to a better fitting piece. Proper sizing is really important here, especially to help minimize irritation or oral damage. The entire process only takes a few seconds, and compared to other oral piercings, it's generally considered a pretty easy experience. As for pain, most people describe the tongue web piercing as just a quick pinch, and some don't even feel it at all. Since the tissue is thin and doesn't have many nerve endings, it's one of the least painful oral piercings. You might have some soreness afterward, but it's usually very manageable. Healing is also relatively quick. Most tongue web piercings heal in about 6 to 8 weeks, depending on your aftercare. But even though the healing time is shorter, aftercare is still a big deal. Your mouth naturally has a lot of bacteria, so keeping the area clean is essential. For aftercare, always follow your piercer's instructions, but in general, you'll want to rinse with an alcohol-free mouthwash or saline solution at least twice a day. You'll also want to rinse with bottled or filtered water after eating, drinking anything other than water, or smoking. Avoid hot, spicy, or acidic foods since they can irritate the piercing. And if you can, try to take a break from smoking, vaping, or drinking alcohol during those first couple of weeks to give your piercing the best chance to heal. You'll also want to avoid playing with the jewelry, including oral contact, since that can introduce bacteria and slow down healing. Be mindful when talking and eating while your mouth adjusts. Stay hydrated and keep up with your normal brushing and flossing routine. Long term, you'll also need to gently clean the jewelry itself to prevent buildup. Once the piercing is fully healed, you can switch from a curved barbell to options like circular barbells or captive bead rings, depending on your preference. Just keep in mind that some styles like captives can be a little trickier to insert or remove. If you're unsure about sizing or changing jewelry, it's always best to go back to your piercer for help. Jewelry that doesn't fit right can cause oral damage. Even though this piercing is small and hidden, it does come with risks, and some piercers refuse to do this piercing. While gum and tooth damage tends to be lower compared to other oral piercings, it's still possible. The frenulum is very delicate tissue, which means there's a higher chance of rejection or migration, which is when your body slowly pushes the jewelry out. In some cases, the tissue can even tear, and you may not be able to get it re-pierced. Because of its location near the salivary ducts, there's also constant saliva flow, which can lead to buildup or plaque forming around the jewelry. If it's not cleaned regularly, that can contribute to bad breath or irritation. Some people also notice a short adjustment period with things like speaking clearly, eating, or even their oral care routine, though most adapt pretty quickly. Keeping a tongue web piercing in good condition takes consistent care, and not just during healing, but long term. Along with daily brushing and flossing, you'll need to stay on top of cleaning the jewelry to prevent buildup. So if you're considering this piercing, it's important to be realistic about the maintenance. It's not a set it and forget it kind of piercing. It's a piercing that requires a lot of work. At the end of the day, the tongue web piercing can be a great option if you're looking for something discreet, low on the pain scale, and relatively quick to heal, but it's not the right choice for everyone. Choosing an experienced piercer, wearing high-quality jewelry, and staying consistent with aftercare will make all the difference. If you've been thinking about getting a frenulum piercing, Now you know what to expect and whether it's the right fit for you. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms at Bodyartforms. Bye!